The New South Wales Blues are the 2024 State of Origin champions for the first time in 19 years. For just the third time in history, the New South Wales Blues have gone to Suncorp Stadium for a decider, a place where I've barely seen them win. I've barely seen them win series, for God's sakes, and I certainly have never been able to witness such an incredible performance. But now I can say that I have, and I can say that I have live. What an incredible atmosphere. The New South Wales Blues did it. I said the question would be if New South Wales lost. If not now, then whenever. Well, the answer is now. They did it. Mitchell Moses, Jerome Luai, Jake Trbojevic, they lead the Blues from a 1-0 deficit down after the infamous Joseph Suaalii send-off. They have come back when everyone wrote them off. Even the most diehard New South Wales supporters wrote them off. They were paying $6 with Sportsbet, but they did it. They thumped them in Melbourne. They sent the warning shot, and Queensland, they were rattled. But everyone still knew what had to be done because it hasn't been done for nearly 2 decades. But records are made to be broken. Maybe it's going to be another 20 years before they do it again, but for the next 365 days, New South Wales have bragging rights. That was such an incredible game for the purist, and despite all the talk that I had in each of the previews and the video where I talked about the key players for this 2024 State of Origin series, I spoke so much about Queensland. They just need to get in the right spot once or twice, and they have so much strike, but in the end, it didn't even matter because they did get those opportunities. Tommy Dearden was probably Queensland's best on field, but DCE, the Hammer, Reece Walsh, they had their moments, but at the end of the day, they couldn't even cross the rugby league try line once. At home, at Suncorp Stadium, in a decider, the Queensland Maroons didn't score, and for 65 minutes, it was an absolute grind. If you love old school rugby league, you would have been frothing. It was hard hitting, it was super fast. There was a biff that spilled over the sideline. Cameron Murray got sin bin from the bench. Hamole Olakau'atu got ejected from coming in whilst wearing a suit because he wasn't even 18th man. That is how incredible this game will be remembered. What an incredible series, because while the first 2 games didn't deliver on the field, off the field, it was one of the most talked about series of all time, and I'm sure the ratings will reflect that. This is going to be remembered as one of the biggest State of Origin series and one of the New South Wales Blues, if not their most famous victories. Without 3 of probably our best players, Tom Trbojevic, the Wally Lewis medal from our last series win, Latrell Mitchell, who proved how valuable he was in Game 2, and then the poster boy, the golden child, the future GOAT, Nathan Cleary. Without all 3 of them, and Queensland also had their fair share of outs. Obviously no Cameron Munster and no Tommy Flegler or Tino, but to battle Queensland for 65 minutes, they trusted the game plan and it worked for the majority of the match. And despite everything that would tell you that this was made for Queensland, it was they who broke first. Jerome Luai went straight through, set up Bradman Best for the first try, and then just sheer moments later, Mitchell Moses went between Harry Grant and the Hammer, stepped to Reece Walsh and scored to make it 14-4, and from that point on, Queensland just had nothing left in the tank. It is hard to be critical of Queensland, and obviously we can be super critical, but Madge Maguire, he had an idea of how he wanted to play Game 1, and we saw that when he picked his football side, and we've seen it ever since. He's picked very mobile, explosive forwards and rotated them well. The complete opposite, because Queensland, without Flegler, without Tino, didn't have that luxury. Collins, Carrigan and Cotter had to play big minutes, and we saw an hour before kickoff, Billy Slater, he knew that. He knew he had to change from Game 2, and he tried. And Queensland had their fair share of big hits. They brought that physicality that they didn't in Game 2, and they made it an absolute war. For 60 to 65 minutes, they were putting on big hit after big hit. But when it came to field possession, it really just didn't hold a candle to New South Wales. And for New South Wales, it was looking like old memories, having all this field position and not being able to score. But they trusted the game plan. They dominated possession. They ran for 400 more metres, had 4 line breaks to 2, made more metres every set because they knew what the game plan was. Madge had spelt it out with his Game 1 team, had stuck to it. We saw it executed perfectly in Melbourne, and it was going to take a miracle for that to be replicated at Suncorp, and of course it didn't, but they stuck to that process. They defended their asses off. One of the great defensive performances, and it was Queensland who broke first. Luai ran straight past Nanai, through the dummy. Gagai fell for the dummy, opened the space. Bradman Best looming in support, bootsed his Newcastle teammate Dane Gagai. Oh wait, there's another Newcastle teammate there. Bootsed. Kalen Ponga scored the first try. Then Mitchell Moses off the back of a penalty. New South Wales got into great field position. Isaiah Yeo, who had his best Origin game in his New South Wales career so far, but it was Mitchy Moses, one off the ruck, took the line on, stepped off the inside between Harry Grant, between the hammer who was at marker, and then Reece Walsh just slipped down James Tedesco style as he basically sealed an Origin series win. An incredible story for so many of these New South Wales Blues. Legacies have been cemented for all 17 of these players. For some, like your Jerome Luais, it just makes them stand above the rest of the pack. For the older guys like your Jakey Trbojevic, I mean, he becomes so important. Yes, I know that he didn't play many minutes, but his leadership obviously had to be incredible this series, and it's going to make it hard for him to be dropped because in that first 20 minutes, he was so crucial. Mitchell Moses, is he now the new long-term halfback? And then, of course, the man of the match, Dylan Edwards. He was absolutely superb. And despite how good Reece Walsh, despite how good James Tedesco, despite how good Tommy Turbo are in these flashes, he has won the last 3 premierships. He made his Australian debut. He's made his New South Wales fullback debut. He is now the reigning fullback winner of the series. He's probably going to be the Australian fullback at the end of the year, and he's becoming one of the more key members of one of the greatest rugby league teams we've ever seen. Brian To'o, already arguably one of the best wingers of all time, goes to Suncorp when he's been one of New South Wales' best for a number of years now, and he goes up there and does that. Same with Stephen Crichton, Zach Lomax, Spencer Leniu, Payne Haas, Reece Robson, of course, Liam Martin, and the Wally Lewis medalist Angus Crichton. What a turnaround. He didn't even get to play in Vegas because he was playing reserve grade for the Roosters. Uncle Nick wanted to buy David Fifita, who couldn't even make the Queensland team. But now Angus Crichton is 1,000 times better than David Fifita, and I mean that with the utmost respect. An incredible performance by New South Wales. For Queensland, again, they just got bullied in the middle. Unfortunately for Queensland, they were lacking cattle there. Madge Maguire's game plan came off superbly. Paddy Carrigan played for 80 minutes, 164 metres, nearly 60 tackles. He tried his heart out, but they just didn't have the cattle to go with him, especially in the back row, and then they had that smaller bench too. They really tried to get under the skin of New South Wales, and Jesus Christ, I mean, a lot of people are roasting poor Ashley Klein. What was Ashley meant to do? Queensland were taking the absolute piss early in that game, so you can't blame Ashley for trying to give away a penalty once in a while, because the way Queensland were lying all over that ruck early on the game, they knew what they were doing. They were taking the piss, and look at the average play the ball speed, 4 seconds to 3.5. And even with that, it felt like New South Wales were winning the contact and winning the wrestle. So credit to Madge. His game plan absolutely worked. The forwards, they're the star of the show. I think Angus Crichton getting the Wally Lewis medal. I was honestly thinking it was going to go to Luai. Then when Moses scored, I thought that it would go to him, especially with all the circumstances around that. But I'm so happy Angus Crichton got it. What an incredible story for him. And it really replicates New South Wales' journey over the past few years. Thank you to Suncorp. It's probably the second best stadium in the world behind the glorious Brookvale Oval. An incredible game, the best game I've ever seen live. One of the best NRL experiences of my lifetime. The New South Wales Blues are the 2024 State of Origin champions. The duck is over. Suncorp, let's play every single Origin game there now. I'm going to have more Origin content coming in the next few days. I just wanted to give a quick summary of my thoughts really quick because I'm recording this at 2 a.m. and I still got to edit it. So it's going to be a late morning for me. But to the 34 players, to Madge, to Billy, thank you for making this such an iconic State of Origin series. I want to thank everyone for all the support you've shown me, not just here on the YouTube, but on Instagram and on TikTok. This series has been so entertaining. Jakey Trbojevic got to lift the State of Origin shield, maybe in his final game in New South Wales Sky Blue, and I couldn't think think of a better bloke to have the honours. Queensland, I read your comments. The accountability is going to be off the charts after the Game 1 loss and in the Game 2 preview when I said I think they win in Melbourne. The accountability is going to be off its head. But we've still got 7 to go. You've still got bragging rights. But as for now, New South Wales, that is where the State of Origin shield will lie for the next year. Smash that like button. Let me know your thoughts on Game 3 and the entire series of 2024 in that comment section. Subscribe if you haven't yet already. And let's turn our attention to the race for the top 8 and finals footy this September.